Hello and welcome to Pitch Please. I'm James, joined by Aman, and we'll be chatting everything Premier League, the goals, the gaffes, and yes, even the VAR when we have to. It's proper football talk, no fluff, no nonsense, just two mates basically putting the world of football to rights. Let's get stuck in. Aman, how are you doing today?
I am good, James. How are you?
I am good. I'm very excited. We've got the weekend coming up with all of the Prem football in action. But before then, we've got a lot to speak about, especially when it comes to transfers and obviously our teams and predictions as well.
Mhm.
Um, let's get stuff kicked off, shall we? And I want to talk about how we are doing at Chelsea. If you have any reservations or your kind of idea around how things are doing from an outsider's perspective, myself being a Chelsea fan, Aman being a Man United fan. Um, yeah, I think I want to start with that and how you see Chelsea as uh, prediction for how we're going to do in the season, our transfers and things like that.
Mhm. So my thoughts on Chelsea. I think it can go one of two ways with them. I am either predicting them for a title charge, but I definitely think they finish top four. My reason for them for a title charge is I think the squad is extensive. I think the quality that's been brought in is very, very good. I think you have very good cover in a lot of the positions. I think you have established players, you have prem players, you have exciting talent coming in. I think Maresca has done a fantastic job. Honestly, I don't know how he's managed the squad, keeping everyone happy, implementing a style of play, which is brilliant to look at. Like, I feel like you can do a little bit of everything, whether it's transitioning, keeping possession,
Yeah.
or I mean anything short of Route One football. Essentially, I think Chelsea have in the bag. So honestly, I think they're a lock in for top four. It's a sneak peek for my predictions as well. But yeah, overall, I think they're in very good stead. Hopefully, you give us a cool 45-50 million for Garnacho as well. Get
Yeah,
that Baleba signing moving. And but overall, I think it's looking very good for Chelsea.
I
Uh,
I
so yeah,
agree.
I'll be curious to see what you say. What do you have to say?
I mean, it was very lovely intro of Chelsea, to be honest. I don't know if I'd agree with all the points. Um, yeah, I think we've come on leaps and bounds from 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I think a lot of people were criticizing Enzo Maresca when he first came in. Um, just I really saw the vision. I saw the style of play. I just when he first came in didn't see the right personnel behind it all. A lot of people, for instance, were questioning Mark Cucurella. Obviously, we bought him hefty fee from City, not City, sorry,
Brighton.
from Brighton, and
Mhm.
but we were competing with City for his signature, and he came in and it didn't really kick off. And then Maresca comes in, one of the best left backs in the league.
Amazing. Like the
Yeah,
turnaround in form, incredible.
yeah, and you have to obviously that's down to him playing more games and everything, but it's also down to Maresca and the way that he utilizes him. I remember
Mhm.
he was deployed as a back three for a little bit, like left centre back,
Mhm.
and it's just crazy. Obviously, he's just
Mhm.
versatile. He can play as
Mhm.
an inverted
Mhm.
left side, or he can be an overlapping wing
Mhm.
back at times. And yeah,
Mhm.
he's just came on leaps and bounds. But yeah, I think overall, really happy with our transfers. Esteve, obviously, we signed him a couple of years ago. Looks phenomenal.
Mhm.
He's one of my favorite signings that we've done in the last like 5 years.
Oh
Um,
wow.
yeah, I really like him. Obviously, Cole Palmer.
Mhm.
Um, I think we've got a really good core, which is the main
Mhm.
thing. Um, yeah, Palmer, Caicedo. Um,
João Pedro is one to watch as well, I think.
yeah, João Pedro
He's
coming
the
in this season, scoring
Mhm.
Club World Cup with what 2 weeks practice, like
Yeah,
crazy.
insane, insane,
Um,
insane.
and I've seen a lot of people, mainly Arsenal fans. I'll be very honest with you.
Mhm.
Basically saying because Chelsea fans are so up in arms at the fact that we've won the Club World Cup and we were letting it be known that now we have to back it up. And as much as I kind of agree with that. I don't think it will be a failure of a season if we don't win the Prem. Like, I think a lot of people are putting that expectation on us, and I don't think it will be a failure, but I would really like to see us compete and then also compete in the Champions League to, I'd say, like quarters or semis to be like a
Mm-hmm.
successful season.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't really care about the other cups. I know a lot of people will say like, "Oh, you have to win something," and it would be great. But realistically, we've won the FA Cup multiple times. We've won the Carabao Cup multiple times. We've been in the final so many times
Mm-hmm.
that those trophies don't excite me as much as winning the Prem anymore or winning
Mm-hmm.
Champions League. They're the two
Mm-hmm.
that realistically we need to be getting on and winning. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, I think this season should be good. I think we've got, as I said, really good young core. Colwell's out for the season, unfortunately. I think
Oh yeah, that's a
thi-
big one.
this was his season. I don't know about
Mm-hmm.
you, but I really, really
Mm-hmm.
like Colwell. I thought
No,
it
I
would be
really rate him as well. I
good
really rate him.
good for England as well, which is
Mm-hmm.
like considering our lack of depth at centre back spot for England. I
Mm-hmm.
think for a left-sided or a left-footed centre back, he was the guy.
Yeah,
So
he's a
yeah,
Rolls Royce. He's a Rolls Royce of a centre back. I think João Pedro, as I said, is also definitely one to watch. I think Garnacho, I think, would be a very, very good signing for you. Not not necessarily from an output perspective. He's 21. He's very young. He has time to develop that over time. But from a profile perspective, a lot of your players do like it to feed. They like coming back. They like the balls played into them. The option in behind isn't as big of a consideration for Chelsea, but I think adding Garnacho gives you that extra dimension. Someone who can take someone on one on one, they can get in behind the back line. He'll get loads of shots off. And honestly, his best role at United was as a substitute, coming on as an impact sub, which given your depth, obviously most of the time, more often than not, that's where he's gonna come from. So I think he can be a really, really good signing. Gittins looks insane, man. Like Gittin on the ball is unreal. Like it just sticks to his foot. Like it's magnetic. His touch is brilliant. He again gets through people for fun. So I think definitely going forward, it's gonna be very, very exciting. Defensively, we'll see how it pans out. Not that they have a bad defense by any means, but as you said, Caldwell missing out, and the goalkeeper situation. I mean, Sanchez doesn't necessarily inspire confidence. Jurgensen and the rest are not established top four prem quality keepers. It's really surprising to me that you guys aren't going for Donnarumma. Like it's just, I mean,
yeah,
it seems like United have dropped out of the race as well, but and he's seemingly going to City. But I think he would have been a great addition, maybe because he can't play out at his feet. You could maybe say that, but honestly, I think you guys need an elite shortstopper more than anything at this point. I feel like Sanchez definitely cost you, if not if it wasn't level, then he definitely cost you more than he provided from a keeping perspective in terms of the mistakes, etc. But overall, I think the team is looking really great. You can definitely do the N+1 thing where you score one more goal than the opposition.
yeah,
I think
yeah,
it's genuinely a feasible strategy for Chelsea. And I am excited to see how their season goes. Their football is beautiful to watch as well. They were looking really, really
yeah.
sharp in preseason.
That's what I
So
would
yeah,
say. And in
let's see
terms
how it
of
goes.
in terms of the development of the tactics, I've really enjoyed seeing Chelsea. As
Mhm,
in, when Maresca first came in, you saw the vision, but as I said, the personnel wasn't really
mhm,
there, or they didn't quite know their roles.
mhm,
And just to see them come on to now having fluid football, I think is the
mhm,
best way to kind of say it. Where our wingers are some of the only wingers that actually attack the fullbacks. Like
mhm,
Pedro Neto actually attacks every time he touches that
mhm,
ball.
mhm.
And there was the same with Gittins at the weekend. I know it was a friendly. By the way, I'm not fully sold on Biden Gittins at the moment, but
Oh, interesting.
um, I just, it was also first game, completely fair,
Yeah.
but I think he was trying, you know when you try a little bit too much, like you take
Mm-hmm.
a couple shots that you probably should have passed, or um, you last minute kind of take your eye off the ball, and he got into the best positions, so I
Mm-hmm.
can't discredit him, but when it comes to the actual finishing, it was questionable. Um, but yeah, I think quite a few of those the players in that game did that because they saw AC Milan were down a man, so it kind of makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, and also yeah, to top it off, we beat AC Milan 3-1. Like these are,
Mm-hmm.
it's not, you're not playing Sheffield. No offense to Sheffield
Yeah.
fans,
100%.
um, but yeah, I'm excited to see Chelsea move forward, and I think they're going to do well this season, or at least I hope they do well this season. Speaking of new front lines and new players, your team, mm,
My team.
your team,
My team.
yes.
Uh, we were having a spirited discussion last night about it as well, over text. Um, my team, speaking of goals, I think we've definitely added them. I think that was our biggest issue last season. If you just look at the points table, you look at the goals, four column, 44 goals in a Premier League season. Like, honestly, it genuinely think that if the promotion quality from the championship last season wasn't at the level it was, I think we would be way closer to a relegation battle. And obviously, that when you're in that battle and the mindset of that battle sets in, obviously how the games are approached and stuff change a lot. But that was last season. I really don't want to think about it
How
ever again.
how close
Ever,
can you get to
ever again.
a relegation battle? How much more closer could you get? Because
Honestly,
16th slash
honestly,
17th,
yeah,
you are in a relegation battle. Like, I know it was pretty clear at the end, but
yeah,
you
exactly.
physically couldn't be any further down.
Any closer, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. The only one separating us were Spurs, and I think
yeah.
Wolves. I think we ended up finishing 15th. I think
I
so.
think you were 16th. I think Spurs were 17th.
Okay,
Although
yeah.
Spurs won the Europa, so who had a better season?
As I said, and they beat us in the final
Yeah,
as well.
and they
Oh,
did.
that was genuinely. I've lived in London for 3 years now. That cumulatively was the worst day I have had in the last 3 years in my life. I did my ankle. United lost. I lost at poker. It was just an awful day all around. But I'm hoping that the new front line wasn't nearly as bad as my day was that day. I think that one of my main concerns with Mbumo and Cunha, both of them, is they were two of the biggest XG overperformers in the league last year. You can see that one or two ways. It either they're elite finishers or it was outlier of a season. We won't know till games actually get played, but the way things have gone at United with attackers coming in most of the time, it doesn't end up working out, unfortunately. Di Maria, Lukaku, the list goes on.
Yeah, I mean,
Cavani did well, to be honest, but other than that, honestly, especially from a striker perspective, it's been really, really bad. So I think Mbumo and Cunha being prem proven as they are, very, very solid buys. I'm very excited to see how they get on. I think Sesko and Mbumo has the potential to be a very, very lethal partnership. If you just look at the creative stats from last season, Mbumo put in the most crosses. And even from the one preseason game that he started, he put in four crosses and created four chances. For someone like Sexco, who's 6'5", one of the most athletic strikers in the world, and he can head a ball, I think that's an easy 5, 6 goals for him this season. And how the rest of the system works out is TBC. Uh, Mbumo and Cunha do add a lot of quality. One of our main problems was build up. No one could get it to stick. Garnacho would try to run in behind all the time. And when Ahmad was in there, the whole balance of everything was just off. But all that being said, I think the defense looks in a lot better shape. Looking at the preseason games, I think they're a lot more adapted to the systems. I still have some concerns over transition, but I think getting in someone like a Baleba could be essentially the game changer for our season. I think he shores up a lot of the main issues that we have, whether that's building out from the back, covering transitions, even from a pressing perspective. I think he solves a lot of the problems. And honestly, I think he is the difference between Conference League, challenging for maybe Conference League and Europa, to switching over to competing for the Champions League because fifth gets you Champions League this season.
I mean, that's a lot of faith in one player. Don't get me wrong, one player can definitely change a team.
Hmm.
And realistically, Baliba is definitely in that kind of
Hmm.
conversation for, nobody really gets quality DMs anymore.
Hmm.
I know it from seeing Caicedo develop, but it took him a few
Hmm.
seasons. Obviously, you had Ugarte. But yeah, I just want to touch on, you were talking about XG. Coming from a Chelsea fan who had to tolerate Nicholas Jackson for the last two seasons, I can tell you, XG, as as good as it is, it just means they get into good positions, and it doesn't mean that the finishing comes. Coming from that and seeing Nicholas Jackson get into good positions but can't finish, I know exactly how that feels. So, as much
I was
as
actually saying it's the opposite. I was saying that they overperformed the XG. So I'm saying
oh, I
that I
see,
don't think Mbumo gets 20 goals again.
yeah,
And I don't think Cunha gets 15 goals again. I think that averages out around 10 and 15. But but that in itself, 25 goals is half the goals more than half the goals we scored last season.
yeah.
But carry
It's different systems as well. Like,
on.
it's always on paper, it's always easy to do that. And neutral point of view, it's never nice to see big teams fail. Like, it's great
Hmm.
to see smaller teams do well, but from a neutral
Hmm.
point of view, you want to see English teams do the best in the biggest competitions because
Hmm.
we're from England. But from a Chelsea point of view, it is so nice to see United down at the bottom. It's nice to see Spurs down at the bottom.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I think you can put these people on paper, your Cunhas, your Embuemos, and say, oh, they can do what they did last season, but they're in a completely different tactic. Brentford
Hmm.
are, you know, counter fully, go out all
Hmm.
attack, and then, you
Hmm.
know, basically sit back a little bit until they get the next counter, and then it's everyone forward. United, you'll follow. I don't even know what your tactic is, to be honest.
Hmm.
But you're kind of trying to do a possession with width, and it's not the same. So Mbremo's going to have less chance to put in a good quality cross because he's not going to be as unmarked as someone on a counter at Brentford, if you know what I mean. But and the same with Wolves. Wolves are a fully counter-attacking team as well. So I'm not saying that you can't be that. I'm just saying tactically you do have counter attacks, but realistically, as you said from the stats, um, it just hasn't worked out because I think what your players can do and what your tactical um, kind of philosophy are almost two different things. So yeah, it will be interesting to see at least. I'm hoping you do better than 16th, but
Oh my
we'll see.
God, yeah. I think just to briefly speak about the tactical perspective of things, I think Cunha is a perfect fit. Like I don't doubt his fit at all. Because once the new manager came in at Wolves last season, he was playing essentially the same system. It was what was it? It was five at the back, two holding midfielders, two number tens, and a forward.
Yeah,
And he was playing in that left hand role. So I think he fits in seamlessly. My only concern was like there were no goals or assists, but I'm hoping that comes when the season comes. And Mbumo, I think, is a fair question. From what I have seen so far, I think Ahmad being the right wing back really helps him, opens up a lot of space for him. Ahmad can go inside or outside. I think that's a great dynamic for them to dovetail together. And as I said, he was able to put in four crosses within a half, all of them accurate. So I think from that perspective, it is looking up. It's looking much better. The quality is there. Like these man can like bring any ball down, touch it, lay it off, which was entirely lacking before. So I think the players that are in there now are much better fits. I think it's also, I don't think you can really look at last season as a reflection of Amarim's system, similar to Maresca, where he didn't have the tools he needed to perform at the optimal level.
just on
It
that,
wasn't, yeah.
I disagree to an extent. I agree with the sense of if you don't have the players, it won't work. But my issue when I watch Man United is I don't even see the tactical vision. I genuinely don't see the vision. Like, at least I don't see the vision from the players themselves. Like, you can tell when a player wants to do something but physically can't do it, i.e., attack a wing back,
Mhm,
and like cut in or whatever that vision is.
mhm,
But the only thing I ever see from Man United is get the ball to Hoyland, hold it up, and then try and pass out and
mhm,
then break.
mhm, mhm,
And to me, obviously that centerpiece is Hoyland, which
mhm.
is one crazy anyway. But I don't see a vision outside of that, and a lot of that is relying on one player, where you're essentially waiting for other people to get up. I don't. As soon as somebody gets the ball on the wide areas, I don't see where the vision is at that point. Like I can't see you breaking down teams. And then a lot of it is when you're building up and when you're counter attacking. I feel like you're trying to do two different things. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but like what I mean by that is like I see you pass it around the back all the time. And I'll bring it back to Chelsea. We did that at the beginning as well, where we were kind of in two minds, but I could still see a vision. But now it's we get the ball to the wing, we know we want to attack. Whenever I see, and that's from build up, or that's also from when we're counter attacking. But I can see your counter attack kind of philosophy where get it to Hoyland, hold it up, pass it off to the wing, go. Try and get behind, use your wingers almost like inside forwards more than anything else.
Mhm, mhm,
But I don't see that from when you have the ball from a goal kick
mhm,
when you're trying to build
mhm,
up. I have no
mhm,
idea. As soon as that ball goes to Harry Maguire, Luke Shaw, whoever it is, most of the time it's Diego Dallo who actually manages to do something. It's pass it round, pass it round, pass it round. Might get it into midfielder, and then it's like, okay, well, no one knows what they're doing at this point, and that's where I think the issues will lie, where you're getting goals, and it's great now you have Mbuemo and Cunha, who are much more creative players. But you, I don't see what you're going to trying to implement. Are you going to try and get past wingers, or are you going to be trying to cut inside and play nice, silky, tiki taka football with Hoyland? Doubtful, but you know what I mean. Like that. That's kind of where my
mhm,
issues will lie with United.
mhm.
But yeah, interesting.
Mhm. I completely agree. I think one of the biggest problems last season, as you mentioned, was the build-up. I think a lot of that lies within the structure. I'm not a tactical or anything, but from what I have seen, the most common issue seems to be that the center back goes into the midfield, which creates a whole load of problems because the wing backs are pushed up. So when the ball does get played to one of the wide center backs, the options on the ball are super limited. So at that point in time, you either need someone like a Baleba who can just turn and who can receive against pressure,
Yeah.
no worries at all. Use that big bum, turn whoever's pressing him, and just and made his ball carrying is elite, which is one of the hallmarks of Amarim's system. The one of the his most effective way of breaking lines is actually ball carrying rather than pressing, which is probably one of the reasons you didn't see that. But I feel like I did see some tactical implementation wherein yes, one of the center backs did push up, but one of the midfielders also dropped back into the back line.
hmm
So he is removing that problem, creating more passing angles and stuff like that. And
But
obviously, with better personnel in play, you would hope that those issues get solved. I would also say that while you disagree, I think this season will be a way more accurate reflection
I
of
hope so.
what Amarim's system is because if like we both work on paid social, right? And then if we were suddenly told to switch to out of home advertising, like that's gonna take us like the learning curve on that is gonna be steep, right? That from a player perspective, even from the person who's training us from that perspective as well. So I think we have upskilled enough. I think we brought the right profiles in. I think we do still need a couple more signings. Onana in the sticks gives me no confidence at all. Like I was actually talking to one of my friends at the end of last season, and I was like, if this man is between the sticks next season, I don't know if I'll be able to watch.
Yeah,
But
fair.
now that the season is upon us, I don't think I can live up to that any promise anymore. I think the vibes are well and truly back in Manchester United. And let's just hope that translates onto the pitch, honestly.
Nice. Welcome back to Pitch, please. We are just going into the rest of the transfers that we have talked about, obviously heavily on Chelsea and United. But I think the other transfer that I want to speak about today is probably around Alexander Isak
Ooh.
with Newcastle, and yeah, the whole dilemma that's currently going on with him. It's a bit crazy,
It's a
but
hot topic, isn't it?
yeah, I ought to. The thing is, I don't know what to believe. I hear a lot around. He's obviously put in his transfer request that I do believe, but then I hear things around he's not training. I hear a lot around Eddie Howe speaking to press, basically saying if he's not wanting to be in the team, he won't be in the team. He won't play. It's quite obviously there's quite a few players that have had this kind of treatment over, especially top superstars, but usually they end up playing, or the resolution is they get transferred pretty much straight away.
Hmm. Hmm.
There's only been a couple that I've seen that have continued to stay after something of this kind of magnitude, and that
Hmm.
being like Harry Kane at Tottenham.
Yeah,
Um,
Rooney as well back
yeah,
in the day.
yeah, Rooney. But most of the
Gerrard.
time, people, yeah, Gerrard. Most of the time, people come back and they usually get shipped off either within 6 months until January, and they just don't play, or they make like rare
Hmm.
appearances, um, or they just kind of go into the nether and no one really hears from them again. Um, but yeah, so currently, as we're recording this, Isaac has not moved. He, I think, is expected to either sit out this opening weekend, as far as I know, or
So there was a David Ornstein report which said that he's not going to play for Newcastle ever again,
yeah,
essentially.
yeah. That's kind of the feeling that we're getting, which is very weird
Hmm.
considering everything that he's done for Newcastle. And quite honestly, if I was Newcastle, I would be cashing in 120 mil like very easily. You
Hmm.
could, and then the other topic after Isak is where is Newcastle going? Like,
Yeah,
well, I'll get into that, but yeah, let's first start with him. Liverpool, yeah, there's no real other destination. We
yeah.
we think it's Liverpool. I think if it gets to January, and he still hasn't had anything, I think he'd be open to going to other places. But
Hmm.
it's pretty much Liverpool or nowhere, right?
Hmm. I think Liverpool for sure. There's nowhere else for him to go. I think every other club has a striker. Essentially, City have Haaland. Chelsea just signed João Pedro and Delap, both of them. Arsenal just signed Gyökeres as well. So
Yep.
definitely no prem move in the offing for him. I think Madrid and Barcelona are pretty much set as well. So like honestly, these are the only clubs that can even afford him in the first place,
PSG.
and he has nowhere to go. So honestly, I think it's Liverpool or nothing. My whole take on this situation is a couple of things that I find really confusing. The first thing is why he waited so long. Like, why wait till Liverpool have already signed Ekitike to start kicking off? From all the reports that have come out, as we've seen, is apparently he told Newcastle 2 weeks before the season even ended that he would be looking for a move.
Yep.
So if he was gonna agitate, why not agitate from the very beginning?
Maybe he did.
So
We do. We're
I
not
mean,
like maybe he did, and Newcastle were like, oh, we'll think, he'll just change his mind, or maybe it was a case of Newcastle promised him new people in, and they didn't deliver
mhm,
because they haven't signed anyone.
mhm,
You're just not privy to that info. I don't see him doing it without a cause because Newcastle
mhm,
did so well. But
mhm.
anyway, carry on.
Yeah, and I was also thinking that one of the other reasons that it's not happened at all so far is because they haven't been able to bring anyone in.
Yeah,
I think Sesko was the main target, right? And we basically nicked him off them, I should say,
yeah,
get him, and we paid less for him up front,
yeah.
which is amazing to see. And
Ekatike?
you can't throw the money excuse in there either because the agent took less commissions and he's taking a lower wage at United. So that in I feel itself is such a big indictment on their transfer policy. I think them not having a director of football is really hurting them as well. I think that could have gone a long way in handling the Isaac situation as well. Whether it's speaking to him and convincing him to stay, or even getting him a really solid move out of there. I think their price is what it should be. Like he's contracted for another 3 years. It's a World Cup year, so there's no way he just sits on his ass and does nothing.
Yeah,
Like that's not possible at all.
yeah,
And I think Newcastle hold all the power, and if Liverpool want him, I think they'll have to pay upwards of 130, close to 140 million. I mean, if I was in Newcastle's position, I'm not letting him go for anything less than 150 because
really
honestly,
interesting.
he's contracted for 3 years. He's our best player, and Eddie Howe's a good man manager. So I think if Isaac does end up staying, I definitely think he can turn it around. And if I think he can get a more solid what do you call it? Like not even a promise, but like an agreement with Newcastle to say that okay, I'll give you one more season.
Yeah, gentleman's
Similar to
agreement.
what Ronaldo did back in the day. I'll give you one more season, but then next year, if a bid for this much comes in,
Yeah,
I'm gone.
yeah,
So I think honestly, he doesn't have a lot of power. I think he's been poorly advised by his agents. I think he definitely should have kicked off before. He hasn't put in a transfer request. And that's something I found really interesting is that when you do put in a transfer request, when the player does that, they essentially forfeit their wages. So he can't actually put in an official transfer request. That would mean that he essentially forgoes one entire year of his career, which obviously isn't feasible. But so honestly, I'm very interested to see how it plays out. What I am most disappointed more than anything is that was so shit last season. I think if we had UCL football and with the amount of money we spent, I think he would have been a banging signing up top.
yeah.
But yeah,
I think
let's see.
he fits into any
Yeah,
team. Like
yeah,
apart from maybe
absolutely.
City, he fits into any team.
Yeah.
There's
Mm-hmm.
only one striker that I could name, which being Haaland, which is better.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, I do think you know from what I'm kind of hearing, it is a case that he's just going to go. It's just about when and what price.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
I personally would say anything above 100 mil. If you're Newcastle and you already are starting to see no one wants to come to you, then this doesn't look good on your team either. Like
Mm-hmm.
you could also do that gentleman's agreement and have him stay another year, but I I I don't think it looks good on either party, to be honest. And I think it was very clear that he wanted to go, and it just hasn't happened. It does kind of feel like a Harry Kane situation in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
Apart from obviously Kane did it for a lot longer.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think it will be a case of he is going to be a world class striker or could be
Oh,
potentially a
100%.
world class
Yeah.
striker.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
Mm-hmm.
about being able to do that at a team that will let him. The only other point I'd make is we've obviously listed off some of the teams, but Harry Kane is getting on with age, so Bayern or
Mm-hmm.
PSG. They're the other
Mm-hmm.
two teams. I know Real Madrid and Barcelona no, but I'd say Bayern or PSG are the only other teams that could even compete financially to be able to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just about if they're willing to kind of fork over that money. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it would be interesting. It'd be interesting. And then
Mm-hmm.
kind of getting onto the topic of Newcastle as a whole and the the kind of wider picture of football in general and
Mm-hmm.
what we kind of promote as big clubs. It's
Mm-hmm.
very clear to see that success will still only get you so far, and
Mate, it's shocking. It's genuinely shocking.
it's
It's
very
shocking.
evident by Newcastle. Obviously, they've been in the Champions League. They've won a couple of trophies, and
Just the one. Just the one.
is it just the one?
Yeah, it was the
Oh,
Carabao was their
yeah,
first trophy in 70 years, right?
yeah, yeah. Sorry. Yes, I mistake. Yes, I thought, Isaac being signed was a trophy in itself. Um, no, yeah. So they won that. I was getting mixed up with Palace actually. Anyway,
Yeah, yeah,
because
correct. Yeah.
they won the other one. Um,
Hmm.
but it's just very, you know, Newcastle are a big team in the sense of they've got a wide fan base.
Hmm.
They've been in and amongst the top prem since
Hmm.
'90s. Obviously, they had a bit of
Since
a
the Prem
downfall.
started, yeah.
But yeah, you still see these strikers. Shesko, Ekatike. They're going to big clubs. João Pedro, Liam Delap. You know, they're going to the what we would call bigger clubs,
Hmm.
and as much money as Newcastle can throw, it's just not sticking. And
Hmm.
it it's interesting because it kind of I think we were speaking about what a big club is, what a big club kind of represents, why
Hmm.
certain clubs are bigger, and a lot of people have a quite a big bias on recency. So
Hmm.
the cities of the world
Hmm.
who've done really well, but they weren't particularly good 100 years ago. That prestige does take effect, and you're seeing it live in the
Hmm.
sense of United, where like in all you know niceties, United haven't been a good team for a long time, and yet they're
Yeah.
still able to sign strikers over people like Newcastle who have Champions League. Um, yeah, what's your take on like how that's going to pan out in future? What do you have to win to become a big team? Is it your personnel? Is it your facilities? Obviously, can't be your fan base because Newcastle has one of the biggest fan bases. So, yeah, what is it, and how do you get to that kind of top echelon of the Liverpools, the Uniteds, Chelseas, Arsenals, whatever you want to call them?
I think there's multiple factors to that. First of all, like I was saying earlier, it's genuinely shocking to me. Like with they've got a really good manager. The squad is robust, it's fit, it's physical, it's full of quality. They can easily compete on two fronts, I think, across the Champions League and Prem for sure. They've won a cup competition that goes to show that they're definitely a cup team who can put it all together, go on a solid run.
Yep.
So it's genuinely surprising to me the amount of rejections they've got with Champions League football in mind. Honestly, I think it's genuinely shocking. I think there are a few factors though. As I said before, the lack of director of football, that's a big one. Paul Mitchell leaving on the eve of the transfer window, like it couldn't have gone worse than that. They don't have a chief executive at the moment. Amanda Staveley left the consortium very recently. They haven't been able to replace her, so they're lacking leadership at the top. I think they definitely have the funds, but I think they don't have the prestige, they don't have the heritage, they don't have the cachet. So that's definitely something they need to build up. Neither does a team like City, but they're performing at an elite level with an elite manager who, if you go there, you're either gonna get a shit ton of trophies and you're gonna get work under one of the best managers of
Yeah.
all time.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna be moved on to a really good club as well. Because if you see where City have let people go, someone like Aguero, he went to Barcelona.
Yeah.
So you can see
Gundogan.
that Gundogan went to Barcelona, came back as well.
Yeah. Exactly.
And so honestly, the elite performance isn't there. I think there's a lack of leadership as well. I, as a United fan, know that better than anyone that not having that leadership structure in place leads you to situations where you are in now, where even despite everything going your way, nothing goes your way, which makes not a lot of sense at all, honestly. If I was a Newcastle fan, I would be pulling my hair out. I would be like, what is going on? But honestly, I think the main issue with Newcastle is that it's in Newcastle.
Yeah.
I think if you're moving to England, the weather's awful. The food isn't great. Um, there's
I take
not a
offense
lot
to
of
all of this, but carry on.
I mean, as you should, but because it's true. But honestly, they don't have an international airport nearby. I feel like the likes of Aston Villa were able to attract the likes of Asensio because they're in Birmingham. Birmingham as an international airport. You would think that that's not a very big factor, but honestly, more often than not, I think that's why people end up choosing London clubs. Like I think that's why someone
Yeah,
would go to Fulham over a Burnley, for example.
yeah,
Even if Burnley might have a better team, like your life is so much better in a city like London, in a city like Manchester. And the thing with Newcastle is, I think they were also shopping in the wrong pools. They were going after players that other big established names were going for. And I think, again, if they had better leadership in place, I don't think they try and make the moves they have made. Going up against clubs like Chelsea, United, City, it's not feasible in the transfer market, irrespective of what your situation is. So I honestly think it was just like a perfect it was a perfect storm essentially. I think everything that could go wrong did go wrong for them this season. And losing someone like Isak's output, who's not just goals, right? This man holds the ball up, he does ball progression, he brings other people into play, and he'll be a massive mess. They don't have anyone in the striker department right now because Callum Wilson is left as well. They made decent signings in midfield. I think Jacob Ramsey from Aston Villa is a very good
yeah,
pickup. I really, really rate him. I think he's basically what Morgan Rogers is, just not there yet, but I
yeah,
think he can bring something very similar to the team. I think their centre back signing, I can't say his name, Theo, I have no
yeah.
idea.
Teal.
I think
Yeah,
he looks like a really, really solid prospect as well. I think Elanga is a very, very good signing for them. With Barnes and what's the other guy? Gordon. I think with them and their midfield is, I would say, one of the best in the league. I think
interesting.
they they do. I mean, like Tonali, Joe Linton, themselves as a two is pretty up. If not elite, pretty
I,
like pushing,
I'd,
getting close
I'd
for
say
sure.
I'd say they're up there. Um,
Yeah.
I wouldn't call it the best. But I'd say it's definitely up there. I personally will have a bias to Chelsea, but when I
Yeah.
see Caicedo,
One. Yeah.
Lavia, and Palmer or Enzo or whatever you want to call it, I think that is you
Mhm.
just it's dominant. But yeah, again, I do say Bruno, Tonali, very good players. Joe Linton, very good players. Um,
Mhm.
I don't know if it's the top like I can't see them at the top level though. But who knows? I might be wrong. Yeah, I agree with your points. It's interesting because when we talk about prestige and big clubs and stuff, um, just you don't really take into context anything outside of football.
Mhm.
And having access to airports or just being in a city, everyone wants to be in Barcelona, everyone wants to be in
Mhm.
Paris. London, it has its allure. Yeah, it might not be great weather, but it's still a bit major city. Newcastle,
Mhm.
exactly. Is it that? Um, okay, interesting. Well, obviously, we'll pan out and see how that does over the next
Mhm.
couple of weeks.
Mhm.
But hopefully, what I am really upset is I really do hope I see him play.
Mhm.
Because if he doesn't play, it's just you're kind of you I wouldn't say ruining, but it's always a shame to see a really good player, especially when fit, not play.
Mhm.
So yeah, we'll see what happens in the next couple of weeks. Moving on to the kind of final segment. I think we both have our predictions
Mhm.
for this season. Obviously, very early, things do change.
Mhm.
But I'm sure that we're going to come out with a couple of rogue shouts. I'm going to start with my top Premier League prediction, which is clearly going to be correct. I'll start from 20th and go to first. I think for me, um, 20 to kind of 16 are fairly normal. There might be a one or two rogue shouts, but um, that and then the top 7, 8 is fairly normal. The mid
Mhm.
table is where it just got really difficult for me.
Mhm.
I just
Agreed.
you can't really guess
Pick
people's
between them, yeah.
exact form between there. But anyway, we'll see if I've got some rogue shouts. So 20th, I have Leeds. Obviously, just got promoted. I think they've got
Mm-hmm.
a good kind of young core. Really liked them in the Prem when they were up, but I don't see them staying up, which is a shame. But I really love them to prove me wrong. Obviously, Melier in goal, and
Mm-hmm.
they've still got Jack Harrison, I think, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, some actual really good signings that I saw as well. I can't remember them all off the top of my head, but yeah, Leeds.
Calvert Lewin will be
Calvert-Lewin.
interesting, I believe.
Yes, Calvert-Lewin. If that goes through as planned, I think that would be really interesting. I saw
Mm-hmm.
some other news that Patrick Bamford might be on his way out as well, which is
Oh,
a shame.
he's gone. He's done.
Oh, is he completely gone?
Yeah,
Okay.
he's done. Yeah.
See, not up to date fully on Leeds. Sorry,
Mm-hmm.
Leeds. 19th, I've got Burnley. No surprise.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them came up from the Championship with 100 points,
Mm-hmm.
which is
Mm-hmm.
incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Like, genuinely incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and they were neck and neck. There was literally goal difference, I think, that
Mm-hmm.
game between them. But yeah, Burnley really like. Esteve is actually in my FPL team,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, I think I genuinely I could see either one of those really having a half decent season and becoming
Mm-hmm.
mid-table. But based on logic, they're gonna go down. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's just the way it normally is. And then my surprise 18th also going down, Wolves. I
Interesting.
have Wolves going
Interesting.
down.
Mm-hmm.
So with the loss obviously of Cunha, and then just general kind of tactically, I don't see them doing much this season. But I yeah again might be proven wrong. Still, I believe got Nelson Semedo. But yeah, we'll
They've got
see.
everyone else from last season, essentially. They've just lost Cunha, I think.
Yeah, well, exactly. And he was their main kind of real
Mm-hmm.
attacking threat. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we'll see. Is it Strand Larson that plays for Wolves?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes, yes.
So I don't see that as a name that's going to bag you 30 goals.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. Um, and then yeah, so obviously surprise to come out and stay up is Sunderland. Now
Mm-hmm.
reason for Sunderland and not the other two, even though Sunderland did finish through the playoffs, um, is their transfers in have been crazy. We spoke
Mm-hmm.
about it a little bit yesterday, but
Mm-hmm.
Granit Xhaka in like incredible and proven
Captain as well.
Prem and what? Sorry.
They made him captain.
Yeah, I mean he's proven Prem.
Mm-hmm.
He's just been on two seasons on one of the teams that went unbeaten for a season
Mm-hmm.
in Leverkusen. I think that
Mm-hmm.
was two seasons ago,
2 seasons
and
ago.
I just yeah like this guy was very good as soon as Arteta came in for Arsenal, and then he's just gone on. He is a bit old now, but yeah, really good. And then Mark Gui, um,
Oui,
Gui
oui,
Yui
oui.
Yui.
Oui, oui.
I think more selfishly, obviously from a Chelsea perspective, but when this guy plays, he is class, and him being basically alone for the season, I think he could really bag some goals. I really hope he progresses just for Chelsea's sake anyway, but
Mm-hmm.
I think he's a really good, like, smart loan
Mm-hmm.
in terms of just being able
Mm-hmm.
to get somebody who could potentially be a Premier League striker. They also have made a couple of other signings. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I did text them to you. But yeah, Sunderland as a kind of rogue shout for 17th. And then I'm going
And have a look at that third kit as well. It's
to.
beautiful.
And we're
Amal nailed it.
talking big teams. Sunderland's a big team. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying. Um, I'm gonna list off the other ones because I think they're pretty obvious. I
Mm-hmm.
actually have West Ham at 16th.
Mm-hmm.
I have Brentford at 15th. I don't think there's real contention between those, to be honest. I have Everton at 14th. Now, this one was tricky for me because
Mm-hmm.
I really like David Moyes. I think
Mm-hmm.
every team that he goes to, he almost, bar maybe one, has improved. He has a
Mm-hmm.
really good kind of getting the best out of players, especially mid-table players.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and Everton are really tricky because they've been in and around the relegation.
Mm-hmm.
I think um, with what Sean Dyche has done, he's really instilled a really good philosophy, and I think
Mhm.
Moyes is just going to bring that plus, the actual attack side of it, whereas
Mhm.
whereas Sean Dyche has done the groundwork with the defensive side, keeping that. So I think they could go anywhere from, like 15th all the way up to 7th. I'm not even joking. It's one of those teams.
Ooh.
I genuinely
Ooh.
think if they can have a really
Ooh.
good season, Everton could be good. I really like some of their players.
Mhm.
So yeah, we'll see. And I'm just mentioning a couple, but like Branthwaite, Tarkovsky is a really good pick,
Mhm.
or a pickup as for Everton at least.
Mhm.
Then kind of moving up the pitch. I know, as we said, Dominic Calvert-Lewin hasn't really been playing. I'm not too sold on Beto, but just in terms of like their midfielders, I'm forgetting the name now. I should really have this name down. Um, English guy who's usually on the left wing, and now I've completely forgot his name. But that him and then Decore as well.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think they genuinely could get very, very good. But we'll see.
Mhm.
Moving up, I've got Fulham. I
Mhm.
think that's fairly obvious. Just
Mhm.
shout me out if there's any picks that you're really against, and then
Mhm.
I'll go into
Mhm.
it a little bit more. But
Mhm.
otherwise, I think these are fairly obvious.
Mhm. Mhm.
Moving up 4 places, I've got Man
Mhm.
United.
Mhm.
I think that's a fairly obvious pick. 11th, I've got Brighton.
Mhm.
10th, I've got Bournemouth.
Mhm.
9th, I've got Palace.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Interesting.
as in up or
Mhm.
down for you.
I think I put them honestly around the same area as
Okay,
you actually.
okay,
I honestly like I don't have my predictions off the top of my head,
yeah,
but there's a good level of congruence so far. There's
okay.
a lot of
I'll
overlap.
read yours out in a second.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 8th Newcastle, obviously
Hmm.
barring
Yeah.
Isaac. Um, we'll we'll see what happens there.
Mm-hmm.
7th Forest, I actually think they can come down to mid-table if they don't have a
Mm-hmm.
good season. Just because I think they overperformed what they should have done
Mm-hmm.
last season. Not saying they're not good. I'm just saying they
Mm-hmm.
overperformed. Then I have Villa. I have Tottenham.
Mm-hmm.
I have Tottenham in 5th, which is
Mm-hmm.
quite high, but
Interesting. Mm-hmm.
I really respect
Mm-hmm.
the new manager coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Um, 4th, I've got Arsenal.
Mm-hmm.
3rd, I have.
Ooh,
I know,
bold.
I know.
Interesting.
3rd, I've got Liverpool.
Mm. Oh,
Second,
that's the hottest take, I think.
I don't know. Second, I've got City, and first, I've got Chelsea.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously,
Shock.
it's a shock that I have
Shock.
Chelsea first, but
Oh, who would have thought?
realistically, if Chelsea's finish in the top 4, I'm happy. I put them first because that, like, I can't not put them first. Um, but I genuinely think even if Chelsea do slip down, it would still be City, Liverpool, Arsenal. That's like when I'm judging other teams, that's how I
Mm-hmm.
feel it'll go. I don't think
Mm-hmm.
Arsenal has done enough.
Mm-hmm.
People go chat about Victor Gyökeres. I don't think he's going to be amazing, but hey, prove me wrong. It's fine by me if he does. And then yeah, Liverpool. I really like Kirkes. I really like Frimpong. Do I like
Mm-hmm.
them as replacements for Andy Robertson in his prime and Trent in his prime? No. Um, but yet again, they did just win the league, so I can't. Am I wrong? Probably, but
Mm-hmm.
I also do feel like they've hit a bit of a wall, and this is going to be like a rebuild season again. A bit like what happened during 2020, 2021,
Yeah,
where
after the Champions League.
yeah, after the Champions League, had a bit of a
Empty.
rebuild. It's
Mm-hmm.
fine. They didn't have to come first. If they
Mm-hmm.
do this rebuild successfully, they'll come first again. And it's
Mm-hmm.
very simple. It's just
Mm-hmm.
once you bring in too many new players in one season, it's going to be
Mm-hmm.
tough. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why they're low. City, I think you've got a massive fire under a lot of these players now. They've got a
Mm-hmm.
point to prove. You
Mm-hmm.
cannot perform the way that you performed last seasons and
Mm-hmm.
still expect to call yourself world class players. So
Mm-hmm.
you'll see a fire under a lot of them. They do have a lot of new signings, some really,
Mm-hmm.
really good signings. I
Mm-hmm.
really like Cherky. I think
Mm-hmm.
I think Marmoush has a point to prove in
Mm-hmm.
being that star player when
Mm-hmm.
Haaland cannot be. I
Mm-hmm.
think the removal of Kevin De Bruyne is both a blessing and a curse,
Mm-hmm.
because you're not relying on him, but you can also then start playing the people that need to really get that game time. I think players like Bernardo Silva need to start coming out the team.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Not because they're not good, but because they're just not good enough anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think Savino's going. Grealish is
Mm-hmm.
obviously Everton loan,
Mm-hmm.
but we're going to start seeing some of the new wingers come in. Hopefully, Phil
Mm-hmm.
Foden gets his kind of abil-
Mojo back.
ability to really, because when he's firing,
Mm-hmm.
he's top. Um, and you know him. There's conversations between him and Cole Palmer at times, like you know. But we'll see. And will he play in a cam role instead of a left wing role? That's the other question.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, other than that, John Stones, Diaz, and then also Ait Nori. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it should be interesting. But yeah, that's why I have them so high. And then the only other real surprise was Tottenham. But as it says, I think that's just more about the manager.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you just get a really big boost from a new manager. So
Mm-hmm.
I really, really like Thomas Frank. No,
Honestly, I think there's a good fair amount of overlap. I would say around 80% similar. I think,
well, we'll find
but there
out.
definitely are some points of disagreement. That is for sure.
Oh, you did it through Premier League. Interesting.
Hmm.
I did not do mine through Premier League.
I've locked in.
I did mine through Andy's Bet Club,
Nice.
sponsor of the podcast.
Hopefully,
Okay, so from what I can see in your picture, you have very similar to mine. Leeds, then Burnley.
yeah, literally the same. My surprise relegation candidate is Brentford.
Yeah,
Similar to you, I think Sunderland are gonna stay up. I pretty much echo all your points. I think they've done very, very good business. Again, can't remember most of the transfers at the top of my head, but Xhaka especially, I think, as a statement signing, they made him captain. He's gonna have a solid leadership role. Just on Burnley, I did want to touch on Scott Parker a
yeah,
bit.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I He's not like I don't he's not an incredible elite manager, but I do think he's very good. I think he's definitely a prem level manager. I think he's proven that consistently with amazing seasons in the championship. And Burnley's squad, again, I'm not super familiar with it, but they look very decent. I think if it all gels, if it all works together, I think they also have, while not a great shot, they have a shot at staying up. But again, I think both them and Leeds are very likely to go down. Leeds is the most yo-yo club ever, and they're just gonna get fanked about as usual, I reckon. Um, that could be the Man United bias speaking, but I genuinely do believe that. My big shocker in Brentford comes from the fact that they're gonna lose Wissa. They've already lost Mbumo.
yeah,
They've already lost Norgard, and they've lost Thomas Frank.
yeah,
And similar to you, I rate Thomas Frank really, really highly. I think the Spurs move is a great move for him. And I'm very curious to see how he actually does because God forbid Amram doesn't work out in a year or two.
yeah,
If Thomas Frank is kicking about, he's done well at Spurs. You've seen that he can manage the step up. Amazing. But we'll speak about that when we come to Spurs.
yeah,
But essentially, yeah, I think they've lost the biggest cogs in their wheel, and I don't think they can overcome that. I know that recruitment is amazing. I think that's what's got them as far as it has.
yeah. Completely agree.
But most of it, I think a lot of it came down to Thomas Frank and how he profiled those players, positioned those players to get the most out of them. And I think him not being there, as well as losing 40 goals, 40 just goals, not even talking about the assists in Mbumo and Wissa for a team like Brentford, I don't think they can overcome that. Obviously, Brentford are where they are because they've been able to perform miracles. To come up in the way they did and to be able to stay up and stay a Prem team consistently as long as they have is remarkable. Them being in London and stuff helps, of course, but I think this may be a step too far this season.
Okay. As I said, I think we're fairly close. I had Wolves, you have Brentford, but I think realistically that bottom five that we have, just to remark on your next two, Sunderland and Wolves, we've got
Mm-hmm.
essentially the same bottom five,
Mm-hmm.
so it makes sense. Um, Moving up, you have Everton, then West Ham, then Fulham.
Mm-hmm.
I think we have pretty much the same.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think I might have had West Ham under Everton, but other than that, pretty much the same.
Mm-hmm.
I don't we haven't really touched on Fulham or West Ham, but I don't see anything else from them, to be honest.
Grealish at Everton is going to be
Yeah,
exciting.
I
Don't want to go too much into it, but I think Grealish and Jag, and I do rate Beto. I saw him in the preseason. He was looking good. I don't rate him like super duper highly, but I
not for me.
definitely think he's a very, very solid mid-table striker. I think he gives you what you need. He gives you the hold up. He can link play. He's not a bad finisher. He can even against high lines, he's actually more effective than you would think at getting in behind. So and I really like Aman and Jai at Everton. I think he is a top player, and I think a couple more seasons in the Prem, I think he gets a big move for sure, for sure. Like I would even have him as if United player played a 4-3-3, I would definitely have him as depth for the 10 behind Bruno. I think he's really that good. At least will be soon enough, I think. So Everton should be fun to watch. I think, as you said, Moyes gets a lot of what he has at his disposal, except at United, of course, and Sociedad, but like he couldn't even speak Spanish, so fair enough.
I think
But yeah,
the
yeah.
other thing just to mention about Everton, I remember the name now because I'm looking, but Dwight McNeil,
Oh
and
yeah.
they
Mm-hmm.
also have Dewsbury Hall.
Oh
Um,
yeah, they just signed him actually. Yeah.
So yet again, this is why I said around Everton.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't remember the names at the time, but I remember seeing the news articles. And if there's any time that I think they're going to come out of that kind of relegation battle and you know do similar to
Mm-hmm.
what a Nottingham Forest did,
Mm-hmm.
and come straight up with a surprise season, I think the
Mm-hmm.
surprise season for me is Everton, and I think I think it's a fair shout.
But they don't have Wood scoring like near 20 Premier League goals. I think the wingers were exceptional, and I think the bedrock of the Forest team was obviously the defense, right? With Milinkovic and
But
Sells. He's in my
yeah,
FPL team,
yeah, yeah.
and I think Nuno's tactics as well. But there was the drop off that came towards the second half of the season. I think it came later than people expected.
Yep.
Um, and I think their position in the table, and the effect of that, I think, will be made clear when James keeps going with the list.
So yeah, next you've got them slightly further down than me, in 12th, but you have Crystal Palace.
Mm-hmm.
I think after winning, trophy, Community Shield, I think I really like Mateta. I really like Mateta a lot.
Mm-hmm.
He's got the best chant in the Premier League, which goes a long way in my book. And obviously, if Eze continues and he doesn't go, they've
I
got
think he goes.
I think he does, but he will
Yeah.
like. I think it's actually not going to go now. I think he'll go in January. But
Interesting.
I think people would have put in a good offer by now if he would have gone. I don't think Palace will let him go this late. He hasn't put in a request or anything, so yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think Palace for me are fighting in that top seven battle, but I understand that it's one of those teams that have always been in that mid-table, so it's hard to put them there. You then have Brighton and then
Mm-hmm.
Bournemouth. I think same with
Mm-hmm.
us.
Mm-hmm.
Newcastle, Forest, Spurs. I
Mm-hmm.
don't have any complaints with those teams. We've already gone into them.
Mm-hmm.
United. Now
Yes.
this is the one. United in sixth. I'm just going to finish
Mm-hmm.
the rest of the list.
Mm-hmm.
Villa in fifth. Oh my
Mm-hmm.
goodness. Chelsea, Arsenal, City, Liverpool, completely fine top four. That's pretty
Mm-hmm.
much like it's gonna be. You can interchange any of those, to be quite
Mm-hmm.
honest. But
Mm-hmm.
the ones that get me are Villa, United, Spurs, Forest, and then Newcastle. To me,
Mm-hmm.
that's almost the opposite way around.
Yeah.
Um, like. yet again, that's another chunk of teams that
Yeah.
could be interchangeable, but
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
don't. Obviously, you're a United fan, but I don't see United coming anywhere close to that top seven.
Interesting. I first of all, that's a fair assumption. I think that's a completely fair. I have no pushback on that. What I will say is, what I will contextualize it with is, um, obviously Cunha and Mbumo, as I said,
Yeah,
and Sesko. I
yeah.
think they bring a lot of goals. Our main issue last season was scoring goals. Because if you look at our defensive record, it was right up there in the top six. Like we were easily one of the best defense, not easily one of the best defensive teams, but we had a very robust defense. We had a very solid defense. Obviously, if you take Onana out of the
I was gonna
equation, that
say.
gets. If you take Onana out of the equation, and like you people forget, but the first 4 or 5 months of the season, he was up there as one of the best keepers in the league. We only really saw the tail of I think December onwards.
No,
Um,
not having it.
I mean, he had the most clean sheets. He had, I mean, statistically, he was up there. And like job is to keep goals out, and you have the most clean sheets. So I mean,
You have
I
you have
don't
clean
think.
sheets in the most draws. Like unless you're winning those games, which you clearly weren't, it's not. I just don't.
But that's not an Anana problem, is what I'm saying. But
Yeah,
I'm over on this season as a whole, he was definitely an issue. He does not inspire any confidence in me, and I doubt he inspires any confidence in the back line. So I would love for him to be replaced. But given how the window is going, we either get a very strong number two to compete, or that's pretty much it, or we stick with him. That being said, I think the front three brings a lot of goals with, and even if we were just repeat last year's defensive performance, I think that easily puts us that shoots us right up to the top 10. On top of that, I think one game a week is the biggest thing. I think no Europe. Chelsea have done this a few times actually when they have one of those crazy seasons where they like finish 12th or 8th or something. The next season they almost always do really, really well. One game a week really helps with that. Especially for the team to settle in, to get to know Amarim's system better, this and that. And we did see last season that when he did have a good amount of time before games, with the City game in particular, for example, he was definitely able to pull out a result. So I think the options we do have now, the squad we do have now, while it can't compete on four fronts, I think definitely for just the Premier League and the Cups, I think there's enough quality in there. At the moment, for them to finish sixth is a bit optimistic, especially with the squad as it is now. I think if we get Baleba in, I think we're a lock for the top seven for sure. But as it stands right now, we would be anywhere between sixth and eighth. I think.
interesting.
And so I would say, I think if you just combine all those factors together, assuming we get a good start, assuming the system clicks, big assumptions, I know. But if those things were to fall into place, I can actually see United having a very strong season. And I think we finish first, top half for sure. I don't doubt that whatsoever. Whether we get into Europe, ideally we get Europa League. Obviously, you finish fifth and you get Champions League. That's ideal. But I think if it all comes together, it's looking much brighter. For Villa, I'm just hoping they just do what they did last season again. I really, really rate Emery. Like he could have easily gotten Champions League. They only lost to us in the last season of the game, and Martinez had a red card. Watkins had a very dodgy decision go against him, where he took the ball out of Bindy's hands, like perfectly legally, I thought, but obviously that goal was ruled out. So I definitely think that they should be able to repeat what they've done last season. Hence, why I've put them fifth. Maybe they drop down one position to sixth, but I still think they're in the Champions League, Europa League picture. For Tottenham, I having them as low as they are was one of the things I was most conflicted with. But then again, if United are up there, someone has to drop
Yeah,
out. And between Villa and Tottenham, I think I'm gonna stick to the stability of Villa. And Watkins is doing super, super well in preseason. He scored basically every game. Spurs, it's just a lot of change. It's a new manager coming in. They have Champions League next season. They're gonna be competing in the cups as well, obviously, because I think Frank is gonna try and make an impression as soon as he can and try and bring in more trophies. I mean, that's what any Spurs fans want, right? Like the amount of flexing I've seen of that Europa League medal is
Mm.
ridiculous. It's the Spurs fans. I saw one of them. I don't know his name, but he's on like the club and kickoff and all these
Yeah, yeah,
all of the
yeah,
main podcasts, right?
yeah.
And he was literally walking around North London with like a replica Europa League medal. I'm like, bro, I mean, like, at least act like
I
you're a big
mean,
club. Like that's crazy.
it's the first trophy they've won. Give them a
In
break.
ages,
This
yeah,
is
I get that.
coming from a Chelsea fan. Like, let them have this one because
Yeah.
realistically, we've got 100 more. Us, United,
Yeah,
Liverpool,
yeah,
whoever, got 100 more times trophies than they
yeah.
have, and probably ever will. So let them have it for the moment.
Yeah.
Realistically, it ain't gonna last.
Mhm.
But we'll see. We'll see. I
That's what I'm hoping
put them
for.
higher.
I'm
So
hoping, yeah, I'm hoping the Frank experiment takes time to set in. I think losing Son as a leader
yeah.
and obviously his goal output, while it wasn't there last season, it's gonna be hard to replicate. I think a lot of the attacking additions, while I do like them, especially the likes of Kudus, I don't believe that we went to Ajax that summer and came back with Anthony instead of Kudus. That honestly blows my mind, especially seeing that Ten Hag managed both of them and he fully knew what both of them were capable of.
Yeah.
And he's not even signing Anthony back at Leverkusen, which pisses me off even
Mm.
more. I don't like that guy as it is. But he could have at least done us a solid and taken Anthony off our hands.
The
Alas,
the
alas, the
the
less spoken about that man, the better.
the annoying
Um,
thing, just to come in, the annoying thing is
yeah.
when Eric 10 months was
Hey.
when he was brought in, every every United fan that I've ever known came along and said he is the savior. He is the savior.
Mm.
And you know what? He did absolutely nothing. Like he was so bad and he couldn't get on with a Cristiano Ronaldo. Like
Mhm.
crazy. Anyway,
Crazy.
and then he goes and now he's receiving hate and yet Amarin has come in and it's honestly like copy and paste and that's really annoying from it. Like I feel like it's the exact same situation of like I'll give him another year, he'll be fine with Ten Hag and Amarin. And I mean, this is coming from a guy whose team sacks their manager every 6 months, but
Yeah.
like you can clearly tell when something works and when something doesn't. But yeah, 10 months. Oh my god. Yeah, that was a fun watch, but it was just so
Mhm.
annoying how it was like, don't worry, it'll come good, it'll come good. Also, just looking at some of the matches that you had at the beginning of last season, just because you mentioned how amazingly clean sheets that you got, would you like to hear some of these?
I mean, look up the clean sheet stats.
Oh
We're
no,
not talking about results.
I saw the clean sheet stats. So in your first game of the season, I believe you played Fulham, if I'm not
Oh,
mistaken.
my memory
You
is awful,
won
man.
1-0, and
Mm-hmm.
that was one of the only games that you've won in this entire season.
Zergzy winner. I remember that
Um,
actually. A
yeah,
nice
it was.
Jay-Z winner.
Then you lost 2-1 against Brighton. You lost
Mm-hmm.
3-0 against Liverpool.
Mm-hmm.
You technically beat Southampton, but I think that was the FA Cup.
Mm-hmm.
Um, oh no, sorry, it wasn't. I'm pretty sure that was the league. So yeah, that was your first clean sheet with Southampton 3-0.
Mm-hmm.
Then you drew 0-0 to Palace.
Mm-hmm.
You played in the Europa League 1-1 with 20.
FC, yeah, FC 20.
Um, you lost 3-0 to Tottenham with a red card.
Mm-hmm.
You lost,
Mm-hmm.
oh, sorry, you drew 3-3 with Porto with a red card. You
Mm-hmm.
drew to Villa 0-0. Yet again, your clean sheets are coming from 0-0s. It's not a good place to have them. Um,
I'm just hearing a lot of clean sheets. That's what I'm hearing, and that was my point. So
you lost to
you
West
just back me
Ham
up, James.
2-1.
Thank you.
It's not,
The point was, and so if you're pulling stuff up, I would just look at the goals against Ali, compare
yeah,
it to some of the teams in the top 10, and then we'd see where we're at.
fair,
As I
fair,
said,
fair, fair.
that was also just the first 3 months of the season, and you gave me a lot of United nils, so I will take that
Most of
as
them were
a
against
top.
you, but yeah. Um, as in
But
United scored nil. Um, but yeah, no worries. Thank you for listening to the Pitch Please podcast with James and Aman. We'll be back next week after the first weekend games across the Premier League, where we'll also be reviewing our FPL teams and any other interesting news that comes from transfers. Thanks, guys.